Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot, and tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the controversy surrounding this little dinosaur right here. For those out of the loop, Jurassic World Evolution, which this guy comes from, they released a new gameplay, sort of in-game trailer, a few days ago via IGN first. Now, that contained 3 brand new dinosaurs. It contained Edmontosaurus, a really nicely, really well-made Edmontosaurus. It included a Ceratosaurus that was plucked straight out of Jurassic Park 3, and it included this guy here. I went and did a follow-up video from that trailer where I speculated about what each of the 3 dinosaurs were. The other 2 were obvious. This one, however, I suspected was a Guanlong. Now, a Guanlong, I'll bring up a little image I've got here. A Guanlong looks like that. It's it's a little basal tyrannosaurid with an elongated snout, but it's got this very obvious sort of crest on the top of its head. It's maybe not the official term, but just going to roll with crest. Let's keep it nice and simple. It's got a sort of crest flappy thing on top of the head, kind of like a chicken, right? And whilst the shape of the skull doesn't necessarily look like a Guanlong, the general population seem to lean in that direction because of the crest. However, the controversy began with this tweet by Nick Rogers, a Frontier, the guys behind Jurassic World Evolution, employee. Glad you like it. That one is Deinonychus, and the internet proceeded to explode, myself included. I overreacted, lots of people overreacted, and we're going to talk about that as well throughout the video. But Nick Rogers, in reply to Chris Pugh, one of the guys at Jurassic Outpost, I believe the guy who heads it up, reacted like this, and everyone said, how the hell is that a Deinonychus, basically, because there really isn't much evidence for the crest, and there's some problems with the skull shape. We're going to address both of those, and the exact reason, in my opinion, why Frontier have designed the Deinonychus like this. So, crest and skull shape, the 2 main factors, the 2 main problems with this Deinonychus. The crest is easy to talk about. We can actually remove it. I've done a little bit of Photoshop work here with my Photoshop, basically. We take off the crest, and that's what it looks like. It's an improvement. It looks more like a Deinonychus. There are still problems, which we'll get to in a second. But we have heard for a little while now, and the rumours are getting stronger, that Jurassic World Evolution is going to have some customization, I should say, if I learn to speak English, in the game. We'll be able to customize our dinosaurs and make them look a little bit more individual, whether that's via crests, or maybe unique colourings and textures, or maybe even feathers in parts, or claws, or whatever. We'll find ways to make our dinosaurs look unique from each other. And if that's all the crest is, if the crest is not part of the basal Deinonychus, then already people are going to be a whole lot happier about it, I think, because the crest, I think, is what threw people originally. And hey, Deinonychus may well have had this crest. We just don't know for sure, and as far as I have seen, there isn't really much evidence for it. So I think that's why people freaked out initially. Now, let's address the other main aspect, which is the skull itself. If we bring up this image here, yes, this is an image by, if I pull this across, by Robert Bakker. This was a long time ago, back in the 60s, and it's based on Ostrom's theory. Now, Ostrom was a paleontologist who did a lot of work on Deinonychus, and he revolutionized how we thought about Deinonychus in terms of its hunting abilities and its blood temperature, blah, 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 blah. But what I want to focus on is the shape of the skull in his version of Deinonychus, bearing in mind this was 50, 60 years ago. You can see it's a lot more shorter of a snout, it looks a lot more like an Allosaurid, it's even got that eye ridge that we see in the Deinonychus on the right hand side. I firmly believe at Jurassic World Evolution they have based their Deinonychus on Robert Bakker's drawing from the 60s. Now the problem with that is if we bring up another image over here, this is a more updated version of what we believe Deinonychus looks like now. And you can see the snout is much wider, there's no prominent eye ridge like we have in the one on the right hand side. It looks a lot more like a typical Velociraptor, a modern Velociraptor. And if we bring up Jurassic World Evolution's Velociraptor, you can kind of see the similarities there. They are very similar in skull shape. And that right there is, in my opinion, why they've done what they've done. So ignoring the crest, the problem is, if you release Deinonychus looking like this, I've actually done my own little Deinonychus, I'll bring that up now. If you release Deinonychus looking like this, I've kind of just tilted the head down a little bit, elongated the snout, made it look a little bit more like the one by Jason Browham. Sorry, I've no way I've not butchered that name. You can see how, if you ignore the crest, the one on the right looks a lot more now like Jurassic Park Evolution's Velociraptor, which of course looks like Jurassic Park's Velociraptors. So the problem is, how do you differentiate the two? And I think their solution to that was to instead not go for the modern updated version of Deinonychus, but instead, oh, that's the wrong one, but instead to go for Robert Bakker's drawing and from the 1960s and Ostrom's theory. I think they've done it purely to make sure there is a noticeable difference between the Deinonychus and the Velociraptor, and I think that is completely and utterly understandable. Now, I would say to any Frontier development people, etc., that although that's noble and completely makes sense, I think as a community we would probably still prefer people, aiming in the realms of realism. We don't really expect realism from Jurassic Park at all. I don't think anyone does. But since Deinonychus isn't an established dinosaur in the Jurassic Park franchise, really, there's not been in any of the films, etc. Let's not get into what the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park actually are. Deinonychus hasn't been named in the films. I think, personally, it's worth heading down a scientific route. At the end of the day, Jurassic Park films and games introduce so many people to dinosaurs and get so many people excited about dinosaurs. And this game will inevitably make so many more budding paleontologists and kids out there who are excited to research and learn about dinosaurs. And although I can see why you'd want to split the Velociraptor and Deinonychus, if this is indeed the reason, I think it's more important to have that little bit, a lick of scientific accuracy, which we've already seen Frontier care about via their updated and beautiful Edmontosaurus. So, that's my opinion on the thing. People did overreact, myself included. We don't know about the crest. There are solid reasons for why this Deinonychus looks the way it does, although I understand completely why people were disappointed, myself included. But there is reason to be optimistic, folks, via one more tweet. This is by Bo Marrett, guy, sorry, probably butchered that as well. This guy works at Frontier, he's absolutely fantastic, he does lots of community stuff, really friendly and open. And he replied in a comment chain that I started, as you can see by @BestInSlotYT. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already. Thanks for the feedback, guys. We will look into it after the holidays. We are always open for constructive and respectful comments. That is fantastic to hear. Maybe they will change, even just a little change to the skull of the Deinonychus. If we assume the crest is an addition, a tiny change to the skull, and it could make all the difference in the world to the reception. And people, the dino nerds out there, which, to be honest, is most of us right here, are going to be a lot more excited about the Deinonychus itself, which is already one of my favourite dinosaurs, so I'd love to see it done proper justice. But, saying all this, I'm super excited about Jurassic World Evolution, cannot wait to play the game. If you want to hear more information about the game, do check out my playlist down below. Anytime any news hits, it's going to be right here on the BestInSlot channel, including all trailers and stuff like that. Thank you for joining me. Leave your comments down below what you think. It is important, like Bo says, be respectful and constructive in your comments, telling people, you're an idiot, blah, what have you done to my favourite dinosaur, I'm going to eat your face, isn't helpful. It's not going to promote change. We must fight for change. We must be the change we want to see in other dinosaurs, or something. Thank you for joining me, cheers, much love as always, bye-bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider smashing that like button down below, it really helps me out, and also hitting the subscribe button if you want to be kept up to date with brand new videos about dinosaurs, animals, aliens, and everything else we do here on the BestInSlot channel. All of you who have subscribed so far, that's awesome. Make sure you hit that little bell icon, I'll highlight now, otherwise you may actually miss out on the content anyway, because YouTube is silly. Thank you guys so much, much love.